The moment you react, you surrender. Not to the person in front of you, but to the version of you that still needs their approval to stay calm. Most people never notice this trait because it happens in a single breath, a single reply, a single glance that says, "You moved me." If you want discipline that does not collapse under pressure, you need something older than confidence. You need a code that does not negotiate with your feelings. Her name was Hana, and she had learned to look composed. She spoke softly in meetings. She smiled at the right time, and she kept her life in order enough that nobody asked questions. But inside, she lived on a thin edge, the kind that slices you slowly without drawing blood. One careless comment could ruin her afternoon. One cold message could steal her sleep. One small rejection could turn into hours of replay. She did not call it weakness. She called it sensitivity. Until the day sensitivity started to look like captivity. Chapter 1. The moment Hana realized she was not free. Hana was 34, competent, respected, and quietly exhausted. The exhaustion did not come from her workload alone. It came from the constant inner negotiating she had to do just to remain steady. Every day included 100 small approvals she searched for without admitting it. A nod from a supervisor, a warm reply from a friend, a sign that she was safe in someone else's eyes. She had built a life that looked stable. But stability that depends on others is only a decorated form of fear. It happened on an ordinary afternoon, which is how most turning points arrive. A colleague corrected her in front of the room, not cruelly, not loudly, just enough to shift the air and make her feel exposed. Hana smiled and nodded. She even thanked him, and she felt proud of her composure for about 5 seconds. Then her stomach tightened, her face grew hot, and the rest of the meeting became a fog. She could not remember. When she got back to her desk, she could still hear the correction, repeating like a bell that would not stop ringing. She tried to drown it in efficiency. She answered emails fast. She cleaned her workspace. She organized tasks she did not even need to organize. The mind does this when it cannot control the world. It tries to control objects, time, and tiny rituals, hoping the order will silence the shame. But shame does not leave because you become productive. It leaves when you stop granting it authority. Hana did not know that yet, so she worked harder, and the feeling deepened. That night, she lay in bed with her phone face down, as if turning it away could turn the world away. She promised herself she would forget it by morning. But her mind was already rehearsing defenses, explanations, and imaginary confrontations. She imagined what she should have said, then imagined how it would have sounded, then imagined how they would have reacted. She was not resting. She was training for a fight that did not exist. At some point, she sat up and whispered into the dark, "Why am I like this?" The next day, on her lunch break, she walked without direction. She ended up in a small shop that sold used books and old prints. The kind of place that smelled like paper and dust and patience. She did not go in searching for wisdom. She went in because she needed quiet. She ran her fingers along spines she did not recognize. Titles in English, titles in Japanese, titles worn down to nothing. Then she saw a thin book with a name she had heard before, but never touched: Miyamoto Musashi. Chapter 2: The Man Who Wrote a Code for the End of His Life. Musashi was not a philosopher in the soft sense. He was a swordsman who understood consequence. He lived in a Japan where words were not decoration, they were commitments. He fought duels, traveled as a run-in, and studied the nature of strategy until it became a way of seeing everything. Near the end of his life, he wrote a private set of precepts, simple lines meant to cut away illusion. It was called Dokkōdō, a path of walking alone. Hana did not know all of that in the shop. She only knew that when she opened the book, the lines felt like cold water. They did not flatter the reader. They did not comfort the ego. They did not promise quick peace. They sounded like someone speaking from the edge of death, where excuses have no value. She read a line about not clinging, a line about not regretting, a line about not depending on others, and she felt something unfamiliar: relief. Not the relief of being told she was enough, the relief of being told the truth, that her suffering was not mysterious. It was built from attachments she defended every day. She bought the book and carried it home like contraband. That evening, she did not read it as literature. She read it as an accusation. Then she did something that surprised her. She closed the book and said out loud, "I will try this for 7 days." Hana did not understand that this was the beginning of discipline. Not intensity, not inspiration, not the sudden desire to become a new person, but a small vow with a clear boundary. 7 days meant she could not romanticize it. She had to practice it. 7 days also meant she could not escape by quitting, because quitting would become part of the story she told herself. So she began not with big changes, but with a single decision that would shape the rest of the week. Chapter 3: The First Cut: Stop Feeding Regret. The next morning, Hana woke up and her mind reached for the familiar pain like a habit. It offered her yesterday's correction again, as if the replay might finally produce a different ending. Her old pattern was to follow the replay until she felt sick, then punish herself for being too much. But Musashi's tone was different. It did not argue with the mind. It simply refused to kneel before it. Hana sat on the edge of the bed and said quietly, "Not today." She did not say it with anger. She said it like closing a door. She began a practice that felt almost insulting in its simplicity. When regret appeared, she wrote one sentence about what happened. One sentence about what she would do next time, and then she stopped. No third sentence, no story. No extended courtroom where she played judge and defendant. Regret wants a stage, and she began to starve it by removing the audience. At work that day, the colleague spoke to her again, casually, as if nothing had happened. Hana felt the old tightening, the desire to signal displeasure, the desire to reclaim power through subtle coldness. She watched the impulse rise, and for the first time, she did not obey it. She answered evenly. She asked one clarifying question, then returned to her work. She did not win a war. She refused to enter one. That evening, she noticed something unsettling. When she did not rehearse the conflict, she felt a hollow space, like silence after a loud machine stops. Many people fear this silence and rush to fill it with noise, opinions, scrolling, or self-criticism. Hana felt the urge to reach for her phone, and she stopped again. She realized her mind had been using drama as stimulation, and she had mistaken stimulation for life. Chapter 4. The second cut. Stop, depending on warmth. On day 2, Hana read more of the code. One line pointed toward a hard truth. If your peace depends on someone else being kind, your peace is not yours. Hana had never thought of herself as needy. She took care of herself, paid her bills, handled her responsibilities. But emotional dependency can hide inside a capable life. It appears as the craving to be liked, the need to be understood, the quiet panic when someone's tone changes. That afternoon, her sister sent a short reply to a message. No emojis, no warmth. Hana felt the familiar sting, the immediate interpretation, the inner voice that says, "You did something wrong." She almost sent a second message to repair the imagined damage. Then she saw what she was doing. She was trying to purchase safety. She put the phone down and let the discomfort sit in her chest without treating it like an emergency. This was not indifference, it was training. The warrior does not demand the world speak gently. The warrior prepares to remain steady, whether the world whispers or shouts. Hana made a small non-negotiable action for the rest of the week. She would not send a second message to chase reassurance. If she needed to speak, she would speak once, clearly, then wait. Waiting became her practice of dignity. That night, she looked back at the day and felt a strange mixture of discomfort and pride. The discomfort came from withdrawal, because dependency behaves like a habit. It protests when you stop feeding it. The pride did not come from feeling powerful. It came from realizing she had not abandoned herself. For the first time in a long time, she had chosen self-respect over emotional bargaining. Chapter 5. The third cut. Remove the excess that weakens the mind. On day 3, Hana began to understand something Musashi's code implies without preaching. Discipline is not primarily about adding. It is about removing every unnecessary attachment. Becomes something that can be threatened, and everything that can be threatened becomes a lever used against you. Hana looked around her apartment and saw more than objects. She saw contracts. She saw the outfits she kept for a life she did not live. The gifts she kept out of guilt. The clutter that made her feel busy but not grounded. She chose one area, a single drawer, and cleared it completely. She kept what she used. She released what she kept to avoid feeling like a bad person. As she worked, memories rose. A sweater from an old relationship, a notebook from a dream that died quietly. She did not dramatize the memories. She thanked them and let them go. Each item released felt like a small vote for a simpler identity. At work, she applied the same principle. She noticed how many tasks she accepted to avoid disappointing people. She noticed how often she said yes before she knew what yes would cost. That day, she said, "I cannot take that on without explanation, without apology, without adding a story to make the refusal softer." Her voice did not shake because she did not argue with herself first. This is how elimination becomes a psychological weapon. When you remove excess commitments, you remove the constant feeling of being chased. When you remove excess explanations, you remove the need to be approved. When you remove excess consumption, you remove the craving for stimulation that keeps you restless. Hana did not become calmer because life got easier. She became calmer because she became harder to manipulate. Chapter 6, the fourth cut. Pleasure without discipline becomes a chain. On day 4, Hana faced a line that she did not want to accept. Musashi warned against chasing pleasure for its own sake. Not because pleasure is evil, but because chasing it weakens you. Hana had never considered herself indulgent, but she had a quiet pattern. When she felt tense, she rewarded herself to escape the tension. When she felt lonely, she soothed herself to avoid the loneliness. The habit was not the problem. The dependence was. She chose a small austerity, something simple and controlled. For 1 week, she would take her morning drink plain. No sweetening, no extra comfort. She would also walk for 10 minutes without headphones, letting her mind feel the day without being entertained. These were not punishments, they were tests. She wanted to see how quickly her mind demanded comfort. And what happened when she refused? On the first morning, the demand arrived immediately. The mind said, "Why make life harder?" And it sounded reasonable. Hana noticed how often the mind uses reason to defend weakness. She drank it plain anyway. And she did not celebrate it because celebration can become another form of dependency. She simply did it, then moved on. That afternoon, a stressful moment hit, and her body looked for the old escape. She wanted sugar, noise, something quick to change her state. Instead, She did what a disciplined person does. She lowered the drama, she breathed, and she completed the next necessary action. The moment passed, and she realized something quietly frightening. Many cravings are not needs. They are habits that pretend to be needs. Chapter 7, the fifth cut. Stop performing your strength. On day 5, Hana read a line about not acting out of habit. And she thought of her own performances. She performed friendliness when she felt anxious. She performed competence when she felt insecure. She performed calmness when she was burning inside. Then she went home and collapsed. Even her discipline had sometimes been performance. A way to look strong, not a way to become stable. That day, she practiced a different kind of strength. The strength of not signaling. When she felt irritated, she did not sharpen her voice to show it. When she felt proud, she did not hint for praise. When she felt hurt, she did not punish people with silence meant to be noticed. She kept her face quiet, her words clean, and her actions clear. This is not emotional repression. It is emotional ownership. Repression is hiding what you feel because you fear it. Ownership is feeling what you feel and refusing to let it steer the blade. Hana began to sense the difference. She still felt anger. She still felt sadness. But those feelings stopped being commanders. They became weather. That evening, she made a rule for herself. A simple identity statement. I do not explain myself to earn safety. She wrote it on a small card and put it where she would see it. She understood something essential. Identity is not what you claim in moments of confidence. It is what you obey in moments of pressure. Chapter 8. The sixth cut. Accept death, then live cleanly. On day 6, Hana reached the part of the code that circles the hardest truth. A warrior trains with death close, not to become dark, but to become honest. When you remember that everything ends, you stop bargaining for small comforts that cost your soul. You stop wasting days on arguments that do not matter. You stop treating temporary opinions like permanent verdicts. Hana did not sit and imagine tragedy. She did something simpler. She wrote down the 3 things she would regret if her life ended suddenly. Not dramatic regrets, quiet ones. She would regret living to be understood. She would regret staying in habits that dulled her mind. She would regret abandoning her own standards to keep the peace with people who did not value her. She did not cry. She did not spiral. She simply looked at the list and felt the clarity of it. Then she chose one action that matched the list. A single non-negotiable that would continue after the 7 days. She would speak the truth once a day in a small way without cruelty. Truth could be a boundary, an honest answer, or a refusal to pretend. But it would be real. That day, when someone asked her to take on a task that belonged to them, she said no. When someone asked her opinion, she gave it without softening it into nothing. When she felt tempted to apologize for existing, she stopped. The day did not become perfect, but it became clean. And clean living has a kind of peace that comfort cannot give. Chapter 9, the seventh day, walking alone without being lonely. On the final day, Hana expected a dramatic shift, a sense of victory. What she felt instead was quiet, almost ordinary. The room looked the same. The city sounded the same. And people were still people. The difference was inside her, a subtle firmness, like the spine of a blade. She had practiced a week of refusal. Refusal to beg, refusal to chase, refusal to decorate weakness. She opened the book again and saw that Musashi's code was not about becoming harsh. It was about becoming unowned. It was about not being dragged by pleasure, not being controlled by loss, not being intoxicated by approval. Walking alone does not mean you reject love. It means love is not your leash. Hana felt that distinction settle into her bones. She thought back to the moment in the meeting when she had been corrected. The correction was still true. She could still learn from it. But it no longer carried poison. She could take the lesson without taking the humiliation. This was the true gift, not a thicker skin, but a cleaner mind. Hana did not become a different person overnight. She did not become flawless. She did not become untouchable. She did not become cold. She became responsible for her inner world, which is the beginning of real power. When a new sting arrived, she knew what to do. She would write the lesson, cut the story, and return to the next action. There is a reason ancient Japanese discipline feels intimidating. It does not soothe you. It strips you. It asks you to stop begging for comfort and start earning steadiness. It asks you to remove what weakens you, then live with what remains. If you do this, you will notice something. People will not need to change for you to be calm. Musashi wrote his code at the end of his life, when nothing could be bought with pretending. You do not need to be at the end of life to live with that honesty. You only need to stop trading your peace for small approvals. The path is simple, not easy, and that is why it works. If you want a beginning that does not rely on mood, take one line from this tradition and make it real. Refuse one unnecessary apology. Refuse one message sent to chase reassurance. Remove one object that represents an old version of you that you keep out of fear. Then do it again tomorrow, quietly, without performance, without negotiation. This is how discipline is built in the Japanese way, through forms repeated until they become character. Not through loud declarations, but through small refusals that change your identity. The world will still test you. People will still misunderstand you. And pressure will still come. The difference is that you will not collapse into the old hunger to be approved. You will stand where you are, and you will remain your own.